All right. So I am going to be driving and talking. I might not be looking at the screen, but I'm talking directly to y'all. All right. We have hit well over 60 days on the carnivore diet. And I got to tell you, there's been some highs and there's been some lows. First thing I want to say is thank you guys for subscribing and just being so encouraging. I love our community, and if you're also feeling like you want to be part of the carnivore diet, come on and subscribe so that way you can also get all of the facts and all of the deets on how to do the carnivore diet. And of course, we have a lovely community here, and we would, of course, help you out in the chat, in the comments area. All right, so this week I was working out really hard. You might have seen some of my videos or some snaps from the community tab where I've been telling you guys I'm working out more. I'm doing almost 3 miles a day now. And it's been, I'm going to say, a struggle. I realize that when you work out like this, you have to eat a little bit more. And I was trying to take the advice of my doctor. If you have not seen that video, I'll make sure I put a little link on little card up here on the top somewhere where you can click and you can go to that video later. But anyway, my doctor back in May had told me that I needed to eat moderately. And I'm saying to myself, how on earth do you eat moderately on the carnivore diet? You eat till the meat doesn't taste good anymore, and then you stop eating. And that's what I've been doing. That's what's been working for me. Now, I have been on strict carnivore diet for the past 60 days. Just meat, just water, and just salt. That's all I've been having. And I've done this because I wanted to eliminate foods that might be causing inflammation in my body, and I just wanted to also be a lot healthier. And honestly, guys, I'm just tired of being overweight. Like, I've been on numerous diets, I've been successful, lost up to 60 pounds on diets, and then gain it back, gain even more weight back on these diets because there was no maintenance period that I felt was truly doable for me. So I've been on all of those diets you could think of. You can ask me in the chat, I'll tell you which ones. But not that they didn't work, but they did work a little bit, but then it just stopped and it just wasn't working for me. And so this week, what I've noticed was when you do work out and you do choose to increase your fitness level, you do have to think about how much fat that you are consuming, because what ends up happening is you're eating maybe not enough meat, and it ends up where you have total exhaustion. I was trying to record yesterday, and guys, I was wiped out I couldn't even meet the 3 mile mark yesterday when I did my workout. Now today is Sunday. I honor Sunday as a day of rest, so I don't work out on Sundays. I actually take a small little break on Sundays, and I start up back on Monday. So I do give myself a day of rest because I do know that's important, but I do that to honor God. So all right, so I worked out every day this week. I've been working out like a lot since I've seen my doctor, because I really am being intentional. And then I noticed that I was starting to get too much mentally into it, to the point where it was becoming, I feel, like a hindrance, and it was becoming toxic. Because the last thing he said to me was, you have 3 months to lose all this weight, right? You have to lose an extreme amount of weight. And I said to myself, like, I want to say like maybe earlier this week, I pondered on that. And I said, that is ridiculous. Not that I don't want to lose weight. I do. I want to lose it the right way. But I've been overweight for years. And now you're telling me to lose all of this weight in 3 months. There is no way on God's green earth that I'm going to be able to lose all of that weight in 3 months. In fact, that's now up in the stress level, and I'm not having my cortisol levels up because I have to listen to this particular person tell me what to do. Remember, we only are going to the doctor for the vitals. I am not going there for medicine. I refuse to take the medication. So that's one. But anyway, to stay focused, I decided I'm doing it healthy. I'm going to keep working out and still do my walks, but I have to incorporate the weights. And so I'm going to stick to doing I think 1 workout a day. I was doing 2, and it was really starting to wear on me. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And I recommend, if you are walking, if you want to start getting up to at least like 2 miles, or at least a mile or half a mile, here's some steps on what you can do. I used to be a total couch potato. I did not work out. I was very sedentary, guys. Like, I'll just keep it real. I sat and I watched TV a lot. And it got to the point where my muscles actually started hurting, and I gained the flab. If you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing when you don't work out. So I started walking in place on commercial breaks. I know it may sound cheesy to you. It may sound like, oh, that's kind of lame, that's kind of whack. But I'm telling you, this method works. So I started walking in place for up to a minute. This is in the house. I was doing this. And then I built up the courage. I did this for about 2 weeks. I built up the courage to start doing 1-minute walks outside. That was hard for me because the way where I walk, the layout is not plateaued. It's like there's some inclines, there's some hills. So you're really going to be still working out. And there was a lot of huffing and puffing going on. And what I did was I made sure I walked after I had a meal, because I heard that's great for your digestive system. And I also heard that helps with making sure you're digesting your food appropriately. I might have said that twice. All right. So anyway, I said to myself, I have got to take it a little bit farther. Got to take a little farther. So I went ahead and I started doing a little bit more of a walk. I would walk maybe, let's say, maybe about 3 minutes. Then I started doing 3-minute walks. I said, okay, the maximum amount of time I could do is 3 minutes, right? And after doing the 3 minutes, I was exhausted and my feet were hurting me. So I kept doing that for about 2 weeks. Now, mind you, the gentle walks that I was doing for a minute was during the first month of the carnivore diet. It was not consistent. And the reason why it was not consistent was because I was just so fatigued. So, yeah. So, anyway, spaced out for a second. All right. So, I went ahead, and then after doing the 3 minutes, I then added 5 minutes. And then I started increasing the increment of minutes as the following weeks went on until I built up to an hour. That's how I did it. But I'm going to tell you, last week and this week was rough because I actually upped the ante and I started walking up to 3 miles a day. And I wanted to walk up to 3 miles a day because that was a personal goal that I had. But then I was starting to feel so fatigued after the walk. And it didn't even dawn on me that I needed more electrolytes as well, because the weather has gotten so hot. It's been in the high 90s all last week and this week. And even though I was walking in the morning, it was still hitting the 90s. So I realized I do need to make sure I'm drinking enough electrolytes and I'm having enough salt. And then also I made sure I upped my fat intake. I just have like an extra 3 ounces of of meat. And for me, it works. Or sometimes I'll have an egg with a little bit more butter on it, and that that does the trick right there. And then I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel tired. But yesterday was definitely a recovery day. It was rough. So here's the points that I want to give to you. One, if you are struggling with walking, remember, start at 1 minute increments. Walk in place at home. It could be every time your favorite show comes on and it goes to a commercial break, get up and stretch. Or do something fun, like every time this person says this person's name, you get up and you do like maybe 3 squats, right? The whole point of doing these small little exercises is so that way you can build yourself up. To do longer exercises, to go for a longer amount of time, and then also to feel stronger, to build that muscle. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I never thought it was possible for me to even go 3 miles. If you told me this before I went on Carnivore, I'd been like, oh, I can't do that right now, but now I can. And so I want to encourage you to do those small little steps. The second thing that I've noticed with working out is the electrolytes is essential. I started having cramps in my legs, in my hands, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing strict carnivore at this point, and I'm like, why am I feeling like this? The great thing about being on carnivore is it makes you very aware of your body signals. It makes you very aware of what's happening internally. Things that you don't normally feel, you're going to feel, and it reminds you, hey, you can't, something's going on. So that's why I like carnivore. But with this, I kept feeling the cramps in my legs, and then I started feeling a little bit lightheaded, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I need to get some electrolytes. So I had my Redmonds. I did my Redmonds, but I needed a little extra something, so I went ahead and I did an Element stick, and the Element stick worked. I just needed one, and I drank liquids for the rest of the day. I did add some extra salt under my tongue for that day, and then I went to bed earlier, and that right there was what really helped me. Instead of me going to bed at 10 o'clock, I went to bed an hour earlier, and I went to sleep, and I woke up feeling amazing. So if you ever go through that fatigue, those are some of the tips that you can use. And yeah, you could use those tips to help you out. The third thing was the meat, right? I don't think I was eating enough meat because my doctor had said I need to eat moderately. Now, on a carnivore diet, you just eat till you feel okay. Like, if the meat isn't tasting good no more, you stop eating and then you just put it away for maybe another time. I was doing a little bit of intermittent fasting too much. And so what I've noticed with my own body is when I do intermittent fasting for more than 2 days straight, I do not lose weight. And I was trying to figure out, why am I not losing weight if I'm skipping? Sometimes I wouldn't have breakfast. Sometimes I wouldn't have lunch. I would just have dinner. And this happened like 3 times. It happened last week and it happened this week. And I was like, why am I not losing weight? Well, I think for me, with my body is saying it's in some sort of famine. So it's holding on to that fat. So I noticed if I have 3 meals a day, no matter how small they are, the weight comes off. So I almost have to put in reminders now for myself to eat something. So even if it's just a half a can of sardines, that's what I'm eating. If I'm eating half a hamburger or maybe just 1 egg or boiled egg, that's what I'm doing. But I'm noticing for me, the more I eat, the more I'm losing weight. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's what's been going on with me, guys. If you're wanting to lose the weight and you're ready to start moving, do the recommendations of the 3 tips that I said. Make sure you're working up, making sure you're staying hydrated, and of course, make sure that you have an adequate amount of fat in your meals. And it's going to differ for everybody. Everybody's different. You just got to figure out what works for you. If you know you're having diarrhea, that's too much fat, right? You got to cut back on it. So what I do is I split my meals between a fatty piece of meat and a lean piece of meat. I usually have I'll have a ribeye, half a ribeye steak sometimes, and I'll have like a chicken breast. Or sometimes I'll have two hamburgers, right? With say the fat percentage in it, it may be 70-20. I'll have two hamburgers, and then sometimes I'll just, that's all that I'll need. I won't need anything else. That'll just make me feel full until the very next morning. So there's lots of suggestions on how you can mix and match it. You can even keep some bacon on hand. Yours truly, the Baconista, loves bacon. And I love being able to have that on hand to quickly get pick me up a little bit more fat in the diet. So, all right, well, those are my tips for today. I'm going to drop another video. For those of you that are celebrating Father's Day, I wish you an amazing Father's Day. And for those that aren't right now, I totally understand. Of course, I will be thinking about you. But make sure that you are also sharing this video out for someone that's new, that has not known much about carnivore, or maybe they don't even have a community to talk with. Come on over to my community. I would love to be able to have you part of the gang here. Just hit subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And then I also have some videos here on the side. I can't remember which side, but go ahead and click those videos. Those are suggested videos that will help you begin the carnivore diet. And as always, my friends, I will see you in the next video. See you shortly. Look at this one over here or over here.